Okay. Right. All good? Do you want to stop it? Okay. Welcome, everybody. And it's good to see you all again. And trust you enjoyed last week. Has anyone tried out last week's recipes? Those who, yeah? You did, David? Right, okay. But the apple cake went down really well. We had so much left over that we were good for the next few days. So it was really, who enjoyed the apple cake last week? Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? Yeah, really nice. So thank the Lord. And as you know, we begin our meetings here with the demonstrations with a prayer to ask the Lord to bless us tonight. So I just ask for those where you are to just bow your heads as we pray. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for your mercy and love to us. Thank you for the privilege and the opportunity that we have tonight to be here and to consider more, Lord, of the knowledge that you've given to us and how to prepare the food you provided for us in as natural and healthful a way as possible to give us good health and a happy life, Lord, and a healthy life. And we thank you for all these blessings, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, last week we touched on the immune system, and in particular we were looking at what we can do to encourage or to improve the immune system through what we did talk about last week, remember? Who remembers what we talked about last week? Was sleep, yes. Sleep, rest we were talking about, wasn't it? And so it's too much sleep can be a problem, but too little sleep can be even a worse problem, yeah? And what are some of the factors that we found out last week that are risk factors of poor sleep or not enough sleep? Do you remember? One of them that stood out for me was a shorter lifespan. Less than 7 hours sleep a night, and you're reducing your risk of longevity. Okay, people die sooner than others if they have less than 7 hours sleep a night. So that's an alarming thing to consider. But that's something that it really encouraged me to think about. Well, I really do need to get more sleep because I don't get 7 hours, and I can't help myself. I'm a bit of a workaholic, so I need to slow down and get those needed 7 hours. Tonight I want to talk about the opposite to sleep. What's the opposite to sleep? Well, activity, yeah. Well, someone said awake. Yes, I was thinking more in terms of when your body's asleep. When you're sleeping, your body's at rest. But when you're awake, normally you're in a state of activity. And that's what we want to talk about tonight, okay? Activity. How can we improve our health through exercise? Health is within walking distance. Question, do we get enough exercise? Well, each week, adults should do either 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate intensity physical activity, such as brisk walk, maybe golf if you like sports, mowing the lawn or swimming, something like that, something that's brisk. Okay, we're not just talking about just a meander through the park, but something that's brisk, getting the oxygen pumping through the system, you know, your heart rate up, and keeping it there for, on average, about 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So 2.5 to 5 hours of moderate and intense physical activity. And 1.25 to 2 hours of vigorous intensity physical activity, such as jogging, aerobics, or fast cycling. And then you can even have an equivalent combination of moderate and vigorous exercises together. So we're looking there at 2.5 to 5 hours. That's roughly 30 minutes to an hour in a day, 5 days a week of just general brisk walking, and versus, or in addition to that, 1.25 or 1.25 to 2.5 hours of something that's strenuous, getting your heart rate really up there, okay? Do we get enough of that each day or each week? Do you? No, we don't, do we? So that's a problem. I know for me it is as well. So, we found that one study in America found that 23% of US adults get the recommended amount of exercise per week. That means 77% don't get that a week. And no wonder America has an obesity epidemic. Not only are they consuming the processed foods, high in fats, high in cholesterol, but also not getting enough of the exercise. And so there's a real problem. So remember, minimum is 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Just that amount can just improve your health exponentially. So let's have a look then, just very briefly, because we don't have much time tonight for this little talk, because I've been told that there's quite a few recipes that are going to be demonstrated tonight, and some that's going to take a bit longer tonight, so I'll try and get through this as quick as I can. Firstly, let's have a look at some benefits of exercise. Number one benefit of exercise. What do you think number one is? What everybody thinks, I've got to exercise because I want to, what? Lose weight. Yeah, lose weight. So that's to achieve a healthy weight, we need at least 1 hour per day, 5 days a week to lose that weight. Remember, half an hour a day to maintain your health. But if you want to start losing that weight, you've got to increase the exercise, the output, in other words. And so 1 hour per day, 5 days a week. A 10-year study found that the risk of gaining weights by adults who exercise reduced by 2/3. So it's no good going on a crash diet and you don't do any exercise. Or going on a diet and exercising to reduce all that weight, and then you think, great, I've reduced, now I can rest and relax. And what happens? Within a few short months, in weeks in some cases, the body weight comes back on again. So I think it's something that requires consistency and something called self-discipline, isn't it? Just having to, putting that in our minds to get up and realise, no, I've got to do this today. I might have mentioned this before, but our son and daughter, they both moved. We've got 3 children. One left home and is married in America, but the other 2 were at home up until about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. The son moved out last year, beginning of last year, and then the daughter moved out in July of last year. And the daughter, as daughters do, they say, Mum, can you and Dad look after my dog for me? So we've ended up with this border collie, and a border collie, well, it's not a toy poodle, it's not just a dog, it's a working dog, an active dog, and guess what that border collie wants to do every day? It wants to go out there and walk. And so, my wife, you've seen her in the last couple of weeks with her foot in a splint. She had broken her foot, and she's been like that for about 6 weeks now. And every single day, 7 o'clock, the dog starts whining, and guess who has to take it out? Me. Me. So I've got to get up and take the dog out because she just won't stop whining. So I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful that we have our daughter's dog to get me out there exercising with her each morning. So that's so if you find it hard to get out, maybe, okay, there's got some negatives, but maybe the positive is getting a pet that's going to need some exercise. And perhaps that pet needs to bother you to do that. So that's what I found anyway. Anyway, that's quite interesting, isn't it? We need not only to lose weight, but to keep the weight off. And so we've got to keep that exercise happening. Another benefit of exercise is that we can live longer. One study showed that 8,000 steps per day reduces the risk of death from all causes by 51% compared with those who walked 4,000 steps per day. Anyone got a step counter on? Yeah, okay. My wife, she really had that. She was like, she got too stressed out, because she was seeing her heart rate. But she was very good. She has a challenge there. And you get, 10,000 steps a day, isn't it? Something like that. I think it's 10,000. And always trying to get to that rate. That's really good. But 8,000 per day can reduce your risk by 51%. In fact, 12,000 steps per day reduces the risk of death from all causes by 65%. And you're talking there, 12,000, that's roughly, it depends on what your strata's like, but if a step, say, anywhere from 70 centimetres to 80 centimetres, somewhere in between there. Some people might be a little bit less than that, but on average about a 70 centimetre stride. Well, you're looking at there, 7 or 8 kilometres, what's that, nearly 10 kilometres a day, yeah? Say again? 8.4. Yeah. So 7 or 8 kilometres a day, and you'd be surprised how much you walk. My wife got really surprised just in her daily routine around the house, doing your morning things, doing your evening things, going about your work and coming back home, and how many steps you actually do per day. So it's really encouraging. So if you have a step counter, make that a challenge to keep those that activity happening just by walking, and you can increase your or reduce your risk of living less. Let's put it that way, because we're all going to die. If the time lasts, we're all going to die at some point. But we can reduce or we can increase the length before we do face the inevitable. So another study also showed that higher step counts are associated with lower rates of death from cardiovascular disease and cancer. Okay, so that's another. Remember, cardiovascular disease and cancer, one of the big threes. Two of the big threes that cause the main cause of death in Western countries like America, Australia, the United Kingdom. So high step counts. Let's keep that up. Another thing that exercise does, it can reduce your stress and improve your mood. I mentioned this a little bit last week. I touched on it. That stress triggers the flight or fight response. The flight or fight response is when your heart starts racing. You either get scared or you're fearing something, your heart starts racing, and you're either going to fight, stand there and fight, or you're going to run. And the natural response is to act in the face of whatever that trigger is. Your body wants to act to deal with it. And because your adrenaline is pumping, the body releases cortisol, and that is good to get the adrenaline pumping, okay? But if you are continually stressed, you're continually in that flight or fight response, that can have a negative impact on your health. If you're continually in that way, we call that a chronic stress. It can harm the body. You end up with clogged arteries, anxiety, and depression. Extensive studies have provided evidence of the association between chronic stresses and physical health outcomes. For example, a review of 37 studies has suggested that dementia caregivers subjected to chronic stress are more susceptible to diseases. And why are dementia caregivers subjected to chronic stress? Well, if any of you or any of us have dealt with someone or has to care for someone with dementia, is that an easy job to do, easy work? No, it's not. It's very stressful, isn't it? Particularly if it's someone you love. There's added stress as well, the emotional stress as well, but also for someone who works in aged care, and my daughter did for quite a few years, the kind of stress you go through with the physical stress and the emotional stress, and particularly in aged care when you're also in maybe a facility where people are regularly people are passing away, and that can be stressful too. So there's a lot of other stresses involved with that, and that can have a negative effect on your disease, and it's surprising that she did get sick probably more often in the aged care than not in that. So it's interesting. Okay, so exercise can lower these things. Physical activity is the natural way to prevent the negative consequences of stress. And why is that? Well, your body wants to act in the view of the fight or flight syndrome, so then let the body act. Don't just bottle it all up. Let the body act. Not in a negative way, through maybe you're responding in a frustrated or anger way, but let's take it out through exercise. And what happens when we do that? Well, when you take out your stresses through exercise, vigorous exercise, what happens? Your mood is improved within a few minutes of moderate exercise. And studies have shown that people who are active are less depressed than those who are inactive. And why is that? Because exercise stimulates the release of serotonin and dopamine, which regulates our mood, and it makes us calm and happy. So if you're finding yourself moody, depressed, what's the best thing you can do? Go out, particularly in the sunshine, yeah? In the sunshine, get the endorphins working there, pumping through our system, the serotonin, the dopamine levels up, and your mood will improve. So this is just simply through exercise. Endorphins are released during exercise, which also relieves pain and stress. Are you feeling pain? You're feeling in pain. Sometimes you feel like I shouldn't exercise because I'm in pain, but maybe a little bit of exercise can help that pain simply by making you feel better. Exercise can also help us think better and quicker. Spelling mistake, sorry about that. It's quicker. All right, not Quaker, but quicker. Learning. One study showed that a group of people that were learning new vocabulary adding new words to their vocabulary, were able to add them 20% faster after exercise than before exercise. So exercise increases. Why is that? Because exercise increases our protein levels in the brain, and these are needed to grow neurons and to develop neural networks to support learning and memory. Remember, last week we learned that when we're sleeping, particularly what phase of sleep is it? Remember the 2 phases of sleep at night? We go through that cycle of probably 2, 3 or 4 times a night between REM and non-REM. REM is the rapid eye movement, and non-REM. And rapid eye movement sleep is the sleep where you're in the deepest sleep. And that when the body goes into that deeper sleep mode, the brain is very active. That's why the eyes are moving rapidly. And what's the brain doing in that time? It's rebuilding the neural pathways in the brain, which enable you to take the memories of the short-term memories from the day, and it makes neural pathways to store them into the long-term memory. And so and exercise during the day can help increase these protein levels in the brain, thus enhancing our recovery in our sleep mode. Okay, so that goes hand in hand there. So osteoporosis, another thing that exercise does, it increases our bone and muscle strength. Osteoporosis, which we know is a lack of calcium in our bone tissue. The bones become brittle, okay, more porous because the calcium is being leached out of them, and they break easier. But we can slow the results of osteoporosis, or the effect of it, by doing regular aerobics, weight bearing, and muscle strengthening exercises. Exercise itself, it maintains the muscle mass and strength, and you don't have to do how would you say, a lot of, gym hours in the gym or anything like that, but just doing some simple weight-bearing exercises maybe using weights or even your own body weight can improve your muscle mass and strength and reduce that osteoporosis process. And thus, it will, in effect, it will lower the risk of hip fractures in those aged over 50. That's what they found. One study has found that. There was an 85% higher risk of hip fracture by those who engage in 1 hour of daily household activities versus those who engage in 6 hours of household activities. Okay, so an 85% higher risk of hip fractures in those, you might as well say those who weren't using their hips, right? Those who were more active during the day, up to 6 hours, found that far lower risk of hip fracture. And why is that? Because the body is moving, and that's encouraging growth. It's encouraging cell growth, and it's encouraging bone growth as well. Okay? Remember, from some of you may not have been here before, in previous presentations we've given, but in one presentation, osteoporosis, we covered factors that bring that on and how we can reduce that. And what's something you hear today that helps with osteoporosis that you should be taking into your diet every day? Calcium, isn't it? Calcium? And where are you hearing that you should get your calcium from? What's the big source of calcium? Say again? Milk, yeah. But what we found and what studies have shown is that dairy, the problem with dairy is it has the protein in there. And what happens is the protein, to synthesize the protein, the waste products, requires calcium to get rid of it from the body. And so the body is not only is it, you'll not get, say, societies that were drinking a lot of cow's milk, such as Northern Europe, they had the highest risk of osteoporosis, highest incidence of osteoporosis. In other words, the study was showing that those countries with the low intake of dairy had a low incidence of osteoporosis. How is that? It's the problem is it's the protein, it's the animal protein that's in the milk is the problem there, and the animal protein in the diet. So the waste product requires calcium to get it out of the body, and if the body can't get calcium from your diet, it'll take it from your bones. Right? So that's the problem. So dairy is not the answer for osteoporosis necessarily. We found that the things that were the answer were a lot of green vegetables like broccoli and spinach and kale and all these things that are a lot of green. The deeper the green, the more calcium there is in those foods, there tends to be. So that's just an interesting thing if you want to talk about hip fractures and osteoporosis and how to reduce that. Exercise as well as our diets. Another thing exercise can do is help improve our sleep. Exercise improves our sleep quality. We are more restful after having exercised the day before. You have a better night's sleep. I don't know if you find that, but I do. Having exercised, you had a long day perhaps in the garden or out doing some physical labour, and you come home and you find you just want to go to sleep, and you found you have had a good night's sleep, much better than without that exercise. So you feel more restful, you have a deeper sleep and a more restorative sleep as well. But remember, from last week, we need to avoid exercise late at night. Why? Because that disturbs the circadian rhythms. Okay, and the body is supposed to be in sleep mode, and you're confusing it when you're exercising late at night because, remember, exercise is activity. And the time for activity is when? During the waking hours. And your body's circadian rhythm with the production of melatonin, it's reduced when it's dark, and it's increased when what do we say there? The melatonin is increased when it's dark, and it's reduced when it gets light. And by you exercising at night, you're kind of throwing your body out of those rhythms. So it's good to have you exercise probably late, midday or later early in the afternoon, perhaps no more than, say, 4 hours before you have to go to sleep at night, something like that. All right. So, and exercise can also strengthen the immune system. In the short term, it helps the immune system find and deal with pathogens. And in the long term, exercise slows down changes in the immune system that result from aging, thus reducing infections. In fact, during the COVID pandemic, they found that exercise reduces the effect of acute respiratory infection symptoms, such as COVID, and the number of symptomatic days. In other words, you might feel like, oh, I don't feel like exercising, but if you did exercise, your symptoms were reduced. And the number of the severity of them and the length of time you had those symptoms for, simply by doing regular exercise. So that's interesting. And also, some other effects, exercise lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease. 2.2 hours of leisure time each week can reduce the number of heart attacks by 69%, and also reduces hypertension. It helps keep our blood sugar levels controlled, reduces the risk of cancer, and increases energy and endurance. I don't have time to go into that tonight, but maybe I'll pick up on some of that next time. So thank you very much, and this is it for exercise. So I hope you go away from here stimulated and motivated to increase your levels of exercise per day. How much do you need per day? On average, how much? Yeah, 2.5 to 5 hours a day. Yeah, a week actually. That's a week. Yeah, that's a week, and so per day it's 30 minutes to an hour per day, just a regular exercise. Okay, thanks very much, everybody. Any questions? Nope. If not, okay, then we'll go now into our demonstration. So, do you all have your recipes there? Yeah, you all got them? Okay, I didn't get one. I might just borrow that one there. Thank you. And so. All right, so here we have tonight, we have the first one on the program here is almond ricotta cheese. And I'll just check if the ladies are ready to come out for that.
That one? Is it? No. That one? No. Just give me 2 secs. A bit cold? Yeah? Well, welcome back for our last session. And we've got something exciting for you. We just heard Paul talking about bone health, yeah? And we're going to use almonds tonight. And almonds is very rich in calcium as well as protein, iron, potassium, zinc, the vitamin Bs, magnesium, vitamin E. What else would you want? So we're going to give you some recipes that you can make with almonds. And what I've got here, we're going to start off with an almond ricotta. Okay. Oops, almond cheese, that's correct. And I will just take it out here for you to see. I'll pop this over here. I'll just organise this so that you can see it a little bit better. I don't need this until a bit later. So that's what an almond looks like. I'm sure every one of you know what an almond is. And this is what I made last night, a ricotta made from the almonds. And we will go through step by step how to make this ricotta. And it's very versatile. You'll be able to use it for all sorts of things. And the girls are going to come around and you can have a little taste of the actual ricotta as it is before we make anything with it. So, okay, now this is very, very easy to do. Yeah, you can take that around. Very, very easy to do. We've got 2 cups of almonds, just ordinary almonds like this, which I have soaked in some boiling water for about half an hour, and it looks like this. I've just, we're going to just pop the skin off, but I thought I'll just show you like this so that you can see what it looks like, and it's very easy to just remove the skin, okay? And I've done the skin, I did the skin earlier with the others so that we don't hold you up tonight too long, and I thought I'll just give you a little bit of a demonstration how to do it. So it's very quick, very easy. So after soaking 2 cups of the raw almonds in boiling water, then when your hands you can 15 minutes, as long as you can work it. It's a lot easier to do it while it's still warm. The skin comes off a lot easier. So now if you're feeling lazy, you can buy it already done. But it doesn't take long and it's not worthwhile paying the extra money for something like this. I'll just take that. I'll just pour the water out. And what I do at home is I just rinse this under the tap, okay, before I use it. And that's what we did earlier on. And this is, can you see? Okay, that's this. So the 2 cups of almonds go straight into the blender with 4 cups of water, just pure water. So we'll just get rid of this water here. So I've got my 2 cups of cleaned almonds. Now you can leave the skin if you want to, but it will be a little bit gritty and it'll be a little bit brown, and it's not so good to look at when it's clean. When it's just when we pop the skin off, it's a lot nicer to look at. So I've got to do 4 cups of water. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will whiz this up for approximately 2 minutes. Now, if you want it a little bit coarser, you don't whiz it up as long, but I like it really smooth. So 2 minutes, so if you bear with me, it'll be a little bit noisy, and I'll clean up while I'm doing it. noise, but we'll just have to keep it going a bit longer. Is anyone timing it? No. Look at that. It's lovely and creamy and white. Can you see it? Okay, so that was 4 cups of water and 2 cups of almonds, okay? And I'm going to use an extra cup of water just to swish this out, okay? Whoops. So you just swish that out. And then we're going to bring that to the boil. And when we've got that boiling, then we turn it down to simmer it for 10 minutes. And then at the end of 10 minutes, we just put in 3 teaspoons of salt and 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Or if you want, you can put apple cider vinegar or anything that will make a curdle. Okay, so that's once it's cooked for 10 minutes. So we'll just start this going. Do I need to start this one up? Is the gas on? Sorry. Yes.
And it's possible to make with the almond powder?
I don't know. It would probably work because almond powder is just ground up almonds anyway, but it's probably dearer to buy the almond powder than it is to buy the almonds. So yeah, it probably would work. Now, well, one thing I'm going to tell you, when this starts to boil, it starts to spit, right? So make sure you have a lid handy so that you can pop it on, because it will start. Also, as it cooks, it'll start coming, you know how milk comes up and it runs over? Well, this will come up as well. So you've got to keep on stirring it off and on. You've got to keep on stirring it every now and then. Now what I've got here, I've got a cheesecloth. I just put this from Spotlight, a piece of cheesecloth, and I just overlock the edges, and I'm doing it double so that I get a really nice fine, it'll just catch all the almonds, the actual cheese that we're going to have. So I just put that in a tall dish that we can then, it just started to boil. It's just starting to boil. So can someone tell me 10 minutes? Can you, Paul, could you put your phone on or something for 10 minutes? Yeah. Thank you. Thank goodness for your Seiko watch. Sports, what is it? Yeah, so in 10 minutes time, we can put our salt and our lemon or whatever other coagulant you want to use. If you want to use apple cider vinegar or something that will make it, turn. Then what we do after that's done, we just put it aside and cover it with a tea towel and leave it till it cools down for a couple of hours. Okay? So then once it's cool, then we put it through the sieve and then we tie it up. And I usually have the handles in my cupboard in the kitchen, and I just tie it up onto the handle and let it drip into a bowl. And I leave that overnight. So minimum 6 hours for the water to come out of the cheese. So that's what we're going to do. By the end, maybe it won't be 2 hours, but we'll see whether we can actually pour it through here by the end of the demo tonight, so that you can see how it, it just goes a little bit harder. It goes like a, how would I explain it? Almost like a hard custard. Okay, we'll turn that down. And it will just, then it'll just separate the water from the... What did you think of the actual... Yeah? Now, with that, it's very versatile. So what I have been doing is chopping up some, if you like olives, chop up some olives and put a little bit of olive oil and mix it with it and use it like a spread. Or you can actually use sun-dried tomatoes, or you can use herbs, or anything that you like, dill or parsley or coriander, whatever you like. You mix with it and a little bit of olive oil, and it's just beautiful, just on crackers and bread and like a spread. So I was doing this while I was in Perth for my grandson and my husband. They really love it. And my other grandson came and he said, "Oh, Grandma, I love that ricotta. That's really nice." And I thought, ricotta. Okay, now what can I make with ricotta? And then I thought, spanakopita. That's what I can make. And I can make all sorts of things with it. So we're going to show you a couple of things that you can make. We're going to show you one savoury and one sweet tonight. While that's cooking, I'll get on to that so that we don't hold you up too long. I'll pop that here for now. Thank you. Yep, thank you. Any questions so far? Yes. How long? You can put it in the fridge for about 10 days. No more. I wouldn't put any more. About a week is good, but any more than that, I wouldn't do that. The things that we do actually cook with it, you can freeze. I haven't tried to freeze this. So, I haven't tried to freeze that yet. But that's just a very simple way of making a ricotta that's dairy-free. So now I'm going to use a ricotta, but I have at the back there on the table, I've put the spinach, the spring onions, all the other things.
So you all tasted it there on that little cracker. How was that? Nice? Strawberry jam on top.
Good, yes.
Yes,
good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds lovely. All right, now, spanakopita is a Greek word for spinach pie. So what it is a layer of pastry with some spinach and cheese in between. So we're going to try and do this with our ricotta for tonight, the almond ricotta. Now, just few little things. I bought a packet of spinach that size from Aldi, but they sell them in all the supermarkets. You can put that much spinach in there or more if you want. The good thing with this is you don't have to measure exactly. It's not important to have exact measurements. You just do what you feel like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a phyllo pastry. Now with the Antonio phyllo pastry, it goes by weight. So sometimes you have 20 sheets, sometimes you have 22, sometimes you have 25, sometimes you have, 18 or 23, whatever. So you can't sort of count on the sheets because they sell it by the weight. So don't worry about it with this, because if you've got less or more, it makes no difference, all right? So just enjoy it. Okay. I need, here. I think it's a go. Okay, how are we going for 10 minutes? Are we nearly there? And it doesn't matter.
So, no, you have about
That's
4?
okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
no problem.
I got 4.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tray because a sheet fits in here quite nicely. I'm lucky enough to have that at home, but I'm sure you'll have something that you can use that's about that size. And just, you don't have to measure this, but I'll just roughly, about 3/4 of a cup of crumbs, breadcrumbs, just put that on the bottom. And this will help the spanakopita not to stick to your tray, as well as it'll keep it crisp. It'll be easier to take it up, and it also stops it from burning. So just sort of coat the bottom of your tray with the breadcrumbs, okay? Now, you can mix it in a bowl, but I'm going to mix it in the cake mixer because it's a lot quicker and easier. Would you mind melting that down for me, please? Thank you. Probably about 45 seconds. Okay, I'm just going to put it in the cake mixer. Stuck. That's better. You don't have to have a cake mixer to do this. You can just use a bowl at home. And I'm going to use about a kilo. Could be a kilo 100, could be a little bit less. But when I make the ricottas, they're roughly about a kilo 50, something like that. So I'm just going to use one of the ricottas that I've made, a whole ricotta. So roughly a kilo, okay, of the almond ricotta. And then I'm going to use some shallots, about 7 or 8 shallots cut up into little pieces. So I'll put that in. Okay. All right. Okay, and into that I will also add 1/4 cup of olive oil. Thank you. I will add about a heaped tablespoon of stock powder. I use Marcel stock powder, which is vegetarian, so I'll put that in. And also a teaspoon of salt. And 2 tablespoons of corn flour. Now I'm going to whiz this up a little bit, just to mix that together, and then I will put the spinach last. But if you're doing it by hand, you just get your hands in there and just break it all up, mix everything up.
We have about a minute to go before your other is ready. We have a minute to go before your other. Yeah.
It's almost, it's thick, like custard, okay, like runny custard. So, okay, so this looks like a lot of spinach to go into that little bit, doesn't it? But it's not, because it's nice for the flavour to have lots of spinach. So I'm going to put probably half of this amount. I wish I could show you. Let me see. That's what it looks like. Okay, that's the ricotta with all the herbs and flavours.
Okay, that's your 10 minutes.
Okay, let's do this. Switch this off. And into here, I will put the salt first to mix it up. 3 teaspoons of salt into here and mix it. Maybe we should leave it outside in the cold there, because that might cool off a lot quicker, wouldn't it? And then 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and that'll help it to coagulate. Okay, it'll split the milk. And now that's all it is. And now it's ready for it to cool down, and then we'll put it through the cheesecloth. So we won't put the lid on it because we want it to cool down fast. Just cover it with the tea towel. Can we put that outside somewhere so it cools off quick? I don't know where, but as long as the animals don't get it. Okay, so let's put our spinach into our mix. I'll put half and then I'll put the other half. Is that okay? Yeah? Nice? I had someone say to me, you would never know that hasn't got sour cream and cheese in it. You'd never know. Yeah, it is insane, isn't it? It's really, really good. And it is so versatile, and you know that what you're eating, you know that there's no disease in it, you know that it's healthy. Push that down a bit. You don't have to beat it, it's just to mix it. So this is pretty right. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, here we have our mix ready to go. Get that done first before you start putting your sheets down. Now what I have done here, I've put 100 grams of margarine, the Nuttolix butter flavoured margarine. Now if you don't want to do that, you don't need to, you can just put olive oil. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a mixture of olive oil and margarine with this one. Oops, thank you. Okay, and so I'm going to mix a half a cup of olive oil with the margarine that Tanya she just put it through the microwave to melt it down a little bit. Okay, this is our filling. Okay.
Just show the camera. This one here.
Can you
this
see
one.
it?
No, this
Go.
one. This one.
Oh, there's two cameras in. I'm not sure which one's which. So there you go. That's a nice thick mix. Okay, now that's all ready to go. Now here is our margarine and our half a cup of oil. I'll just mix it together. Okay, all right. I just wrapped my brush up because they had the mix before, and I thought I might as well just use the same, so I wrapped it up in. Okay, so I can get rid of this tray. Thank you, Tanya. So that was one packet of the spinach, okay, baby spinach. Now with your phyllo pastry, I just cut the end off. Which camera am I? Which one am I supposed to be? This one?
Show this one the
Okay.
the things.
So I've just cut the end off, and I'm going to cut it down the middle, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Now this, I'll move this out. I've done this. Okay, now here is my phyllo pastry. Now I'm going to separate 7 sheets for the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll just keep them. And the reason I kept this is because I'll just place it inside to keep it from drying out. And I'll just close it and leave it upside down, and that'll be ready for when we finish doing what we're doing for the top. Now I'm going to bring this tray a bit closer, And we're going to start by placing one sheet on top of the breadcrumbs, as like this, and just drizzle some of this onto it. Just drizzle a little bit of this mix onto it and repeat it 3 times. So there's 4 sheets on the bottom, and drizzle after each sheet. Okay, so just that makes me feel at home. I've got a little 7-week-old grandson, and my daughter just sent me a video of him tonight, just now. I just got it just before I came out here. Actually, that's what I was doing when Paul said I've finished. So, okay, that's 3. So, did you enjoy it? Yeah? Okay. Four. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave about 2/3 of the sheet hanging over the tray, and we'll fold that over later at the end. Just remember to put the oil or the margarine or whatever you have in between the layers. So don't have to be real particular as long as you have a little bit on. And I'll work around the tray and just keep leaving the sheets.
So it's 2/3 on the outside, or
1/3 on the outside.
1/3 the outside and
2/3 on
2/3
the
inside.
inside. Yep. It just makes it like a little box, a little casing for the filling. Okay. Just work around the tray so that it's okay. And one more.
You could almost go into business, Lydia.
Almost what?
Go into business doing this.
Yeah, well, I guess people would buy it. So I don't like to do things that I don't like to eat. Mind you, there's not much that I don't like to eat, but yeah. Anyway, I've got that there now. So what I'll do is I'm going to use the rest of my pastry, just plain inside it on the bottom.
So no crumbs on that layer there?
No, only crumbs on the bottom. The very bottom I'll put the breadcrumbs. And now just lay the rest of your sheets here. Whatever there is. There might be 3, there might be 4, there might be 6. It doesn't matter, okay? Just lay them. Put them down. But leave a couple for the top. So now we're going to put our filling in there in the middle. Thank you. Okay. So it's like playing with mud. And spinach is very rich in iron as well. So you've got yourself a really good meal here with the calcium,
Yes, calcium, iron.
Yep, all those things.
And you got plant-based protein with that.
Protein, magnesium, vitamin E and all the rest. So, yeah. So then you just level this out onto your sheet. That's your filling. That's what I mean. If you want to put some more extra spinach, go for it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to actually be particular in this recipe about how much you put. You can just... Yeah. Now, some people like to put herbs with it. Some people like to put dill. Some people like to put parsley. Others put mint. So it's whatever you like. I just did it plain because I don't think it needs anything else. But it's up to you.
Can we have a look at the top of that, Jo?
Yes, you can. Yep, I'll just clean my hand. Okay, I'm going to just lift it up like this because I've got the sheets to fold over it. Okay? All right. Okay, so now we fold over the sheets that we had hanging on the outside. Okay, and just go, this one's underneath. Okay, just go around the same way as you came, it's a lot easier. Okay, that one. The ends. You don't really have to think about anything, you just keep going. It'll sort of, you know when you've done something wrong, because there is no wrong. You do it whichever way you want. And then just place these remaining sheets on top. Over here I've got 2. I'll put this one on first. Again, just keep it with the margarine and oil mix. Like I said, you don't have to put any margarine, you can just put plain olive oil. And I'll just go down the sides, just go a little bit around the sides, and that'll make it really easy to take it out, take it out of the tray. Okay, now we've done with our sheets. Now, what do we do with the other sheets that we had? I'll show you. Now, we've kept them moist. We kept them wrapped up so they didn't dry out. We'll just open them up and we're going to crunch them up on top. And that way, it'll give you a nice finishing as well as it will be, it just looks nice and it'll be crunchy when you eat it. So you just pull it together as such and you just lay it on the top of your pastry, okay? So just take the next sheet and do the same for all of them. Put it down and then just scrunch them like an accordion type and just lay it on top, and that's the effect that you get, okay? It's quite pretty. And it looks nice when it's baked, and it makes it nice and crisp. Just lay that on there.
So these are the trade secrets.
Yes, just sharing it now, and it's, yeah. No one else will do this except for you and those that are looking online. Okay. Two more to go. And when we finish, we just put all of that on top. There we go, that's what it looks like, okay? Then drizzle this on top until you drizzle it all. And it may look a lot on top, but what happens is we're going to score this, like we're going to cut it, make a cutting. And this is going to go and seep through the layers. So don't worry that it's, you know, you might say, oh, look at all that. But
this is a once a week recipe, right?
It's very good for your waistline.
It's a 2-hour determined exercise afterwards of this one.
Now I had my white knife. Was it in the tray? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it before I bake it, because that way it's easier for you to cut it once it's baked, okay? So she's just getting my knife. And you can cut it as big and as small as you want. I'm just going to cut it the size that you had because it's nice to eat. Not everyone likes to eat a lot, so. Sorry. Any questions? Yes? You can. You can use butter or you can just use plain olive oil. Yeah, same way. So I'm going to score this, and I don't want to cut my tray, so I'll go down until I hear the crispiness of of the breadcrumbs, and then I just stop there. That way you don't cut your tray. So just score that. And then you bake this for an hour. Now, some ovens bake very, very hot. The oven here is hotter than the one I have at home, but I bake mine on 190 at home. Some of you may need to bake it at 200, some may need to bake it at 170. You know your oven. Just keep an eye on it for about an hour, okay? So if you bake this for an hour, can you hear it? Crunch. Any other questions?
The idea to cut that before you put your meat so you won't break it.
Yes. When it's cooked, you may still need to go over it with maybe a non-stick cutter or something, and that way you'll have the guidelines and it won't break. It won't just go all over the place. It'll have a nice edge. Yeah.
And how did you have such soft pastry cakes? When I've used them out of the freezer, they're sort of
Okay.
square and hard.
When you use it out of the freezer, you've got to take it out of the freezer the day before. Okay? Take it out of the freezer the day before, and also when you put it in the fridge, and then take it out of the fridge about 3 hours before you're going to use it, and have it at room temperature. And then your sheets will be moist and it'll be ready to be used, because otherwise it'll break and it's not very good. It sticks together and so you've got to make sure that you take it out of the freezer a lot earlier. Now the one that I've used tonight, Antonio's, it's not in the freezer. It's in the fridge section of the supermarket. Yeah. The Pampas one is usually in the freezer. The Antonio one is in the fridge section. Will they sell it at Aldi? I'm not sure. I know they sell it at Coles and Woolies, but I'm not sure about Aldi. I don't think they would. Anyway, now it's ready to go in the oven. So that's our spanakopita, the ricotta spanakopita. So tonight now I'm going to give it to Tanya, and she's going to take us and make us some yummy food too. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you very much, Lydia. Thank you.
All right, I've forgotten one thing. I'll be back in just a tick.
I feel like waiting till that one's cooked out there, and then we'll give you all another piece on the way home, yeah? So nice that was. You must have forgot. Did you get one? Okay. We'll get you one. We'll get you one. Okay. Just hold tight. Anyone else miss out on a sample? Oh, what's all these hands going up? No. All right. Hang on a minute.
Well, I think that was the star of the night, the spanakopita, the almond ricotta. I think everyone, that must have been a favourite, right? Okay. Well, what I'm going to show you tonight, I've got there on your recipe sheet, is the first one I'm going to demonstrate to you tonight is the creamy coconut and red lentil curry with soy slices. So, you were talking about proteins, was it? Did you talk? Yep, okay. So the soy slices, yes, this is very much so protein. So I'm just waiting for them to bring out my saucepan, if they find it today. But I know that for many of those that have a like Indian background, they're very good at this kind of thing. So I feel a bit tense now because I'm like, okay, I don't want to get this wrong. So I know that there's a lot of spices that go into it. Now, with the spice level, not everyone likes it to be too hot. You just adjust it to how you know your taste buds would, how much heat your taste buds would take. Have they found that saucepan for me yet?
It's in here, I think.
No, there's another one. The one that
size?
doesn't, no, it's a little bit taller.
There's something in it?
No, it's inside the pantry. Yep. Yep. All right, I think they must be searching high and low for this saucepan. Okay, so it's very straightforward. This is one of the curries that I've actually made for church a couple of times. And it comes, you drop it on the table and it goes. It's like, okay, it must be okay then. Must be doing not too bad. So as you can see on your recipe sheet there is quite a few spices. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So I'm going to do this. This is very quick. It's just a matter of putting everything in. So what I've actually done out the back, just to save us on time, is I just move all my spices out of the way. Okay. I can find my oil. Must be here somewhere. Maybe it's on the other tray. Is there oil on there? Wrong tray. Okay. So what I actually did beforehand was with the beef slices and the soy slices, there's actually two different ones that I've used here. We do sell both of them in the stores downstairs. We've got there the lamb yong soy slices, which is in the freezer, and then we also have the soy or TVP, textured vegetable protein, that is the beef slices. This is what it is. Now what I've actually done is because the actual TVP or the beef slices, what it's known for in the store downstairs, it is not soft, it is dry. So what you need to do is actually pour in some boiling water over it's tasteless. Okay, so it doesn't really have a taste to it. So what I would be doing is I've actually added, for those of you that know the mushroom seasoning downstairs, I've added that into the boiling water just to give it some flavour. Then I've added the beef slices in there and I let it soak in the flavour. Now I let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. And then after that, I've drained out the water and then the TVP slices is ready for cooking. The other packet there that's the frozen soy slices is a matter of just defrosting it and then it's ready to go. So what I've done is I have pre-fried these at the back just to save us some time. So these are ready to go into the curry at a later time. So I'll just turn this back on again. Okay, so just on a medium heat there, I've added my oil and then I'm going to put into that my onion. If I can find it, it's here somewhere. There we go. Medium brown onion, finely chopped. Ooh, there you go. And to that, I'm adding in the ginger and the garlic. Okay. Now I'm going to cook this down. Until the onions have become translucent. And then to that, you know, I went and was putting all the teaspoons and whatnot of spices that I can literally not remember which one is which. But it's all there on your list, so, you know, be not dismayed.
Coriander, turmeric, and cardamom, and paprika.
Yep.
One teaspoon, then cinnamon. They're all one teaspoon.
So they don't necessarily need to go in any particular order. So I'm just going to add all the spices in. And there are some optional ones there. If you don't want heat, then you don't need to put in the cayenne. The curry powder, you can just, you know, put in according to how much you would like. Yeah. But these spices is really what brings out. Hey, are you enjoying it? Is it good or is it no? Yeah, no. Oh, okay, no, that's good. All right. Did everyone get a sample? No. We're missing one over here. Just in the middle here, please.
Put your hand up.
Just raise your hand. Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else miss out?
There's some that are tempted to put up for seconds, isn't there? Like, you just can't help yourselves. Okay. Now to that, I'm going to add, so it's a couple of chopped tomatoes. Okay, so I've just chopped those up roughly, doesn't have to be perfect. And just added that in. Now, when you've added the tomatoes in, it's a good idea to, with the juices from the tomatoes, you just scrub up or scrape up the bottom of the saucepan. Okay, now with vegetables, it's totally up to you what you want to add in there or what you don't want to add in there. You can add cauliflower, you can add peas, you can add, you know, whatever. I've gone with just potatoes here. So this is 2 medium potatoes just chopped up roughly. Thank you. Okay. I'll just turn this up a bit. Give that a good stir. Now, you'll see in there that there are cayenne chilies, green chilies. Now what I've done is I have deseeded mine just so that it takes away a bit of that heat. But it's totally up to you. If you want it to be a little bit more hot, then you just include the seeds in there. Or if you don't want chilies in there at all, that's totally up to you. So I've just got 2 good sized green chilies there that I've deseeded and I've just added that in. And it's just nice, you sit there and just the aroma hits you and you just want to jump into the pot almost, no? It gets a bit like that, doesn't it? Okay. So to this, I've got here 1.5 cups of red lentils. Now with red lentils, they cook much faster than other lentils, so it's ideal that you use this one when, like, especially with things like curries. So this one cooks a lot faster. You do not need to soak it. It's just a matter of just having them rinsed and then it's ready to go. So I'm going to add that straight into the pot. Oh. It's a flatbread. So the flatbread, look, you can, it's totally up to you what, oh, I might need a smaller spoon, yes please. But this was just a flatbread that Coles makes. Yep, that's the one that and I love their flatbreads. Mind you, I don't know what's going on here. It's stuck, doesn't want to come out. But it can be like that after you've rinsed it. Might have to go under some water. Yes, please. Maybe just add some, yeah, because I'm going to add water into it anyway.
How much?
That's fine. Yep. All right. It's not usually like this, but it was rinsed at the back there, so it's now straight in. Okay, now to that, I've got here, it is some vegetable stock, and it's mixed together with water so it, you know, doesn't make it too salty. So I will add that to it, but first off, before I do that, I'm going to add 1 can of coconut milk, okay, not coconut cream, coconut milk, okay? So just, and it's not light either. You don't want light coconut milk. You want the full fat coconut milk. It's all right. It's coconut.
It's a healthy fat.
Yes,
Coconut milk is a healthy fat.
You'll be all right. Okay. Now, the steps to this is pretty much, look, it's all there. As you cook, I'm going to add now the vegetable broth and the water. Now, you kind of add accordingly, because as it cooks, it will thicken up, yeah? So as it cooks, obviously the lentils will start to expand and thicken up so that it looks like a curry. So usually, you know, you can let it sit and simmer on a low heat, but it's good to sort of just keep coming back and stir, and then you add as you need to. If not, then if you find that the curry is too thin and it's a bit runny, then you make up a corn flour slurry, which is basically maybe a tablespoon or so of the corn flour with some water. You mix that up, you pour that in, and that will thicken up the curry. Yeah, so I'm going to sort of let that do what it needs to do. At this point in time, I'm not needing to do a slurry for it. So, you know, it's a matter of keeping an eye on it. At this point in time, I've got 1 handful of baby spinach. So I'm going to add that straight in. You just mix that in. And then with the soy slice or the beef slices that I was showing you before, that goes in right at the end. So once the curry is, you can see that it's at a consistency that you like. You basically bring it down to a low heat, keep stirring, and then you add in your protein. Yes. So I'm going to add this straight in. And we'll probably finish this off at the back so that we could move on to the next recipes. And this is just parsley, continental parsley. I can add, like, you either have it as a garnish or you can just add it straight in. So I will add it straight in there. And that's basically it. Then your curry is ready. For those that are interested in the soy slices, this is what the packet looks like downstairs at the store. Yeah.
10% off tonight.
Yes. No, not at the moment. Yeah.
This one? No?
That's all right. Yeah. Okay, and basically with the salt, it's totally up to you as you go. If it needs salt, then you add salt according to your taste. So that is basically the curry. I'm going to move this off this heat here. Maybe just a tea towel or something. I'll use this one.
So how did that taste? You all had a sample of the curry? Very nice, yeah.
Very good. All right. I might turn this one on. Let that. I'll leave it here just in case. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll let that sit here and simmer for a bit. And I'm going to go on to the next recipe that we have here. Now, the next recipe we've got there for you is the rice and herb dumplings in tomato sauce. Now, who thinks that sounds good? That's good, really good, on a really cold night. And you're looking for something that's easy to make and it's like comfort food and something that's filling. This does not take much work at all. Okay, so what I've got here in this bowl, I've actually mixed basically from the back. Again, we're trying to save on time here. So what I've got in here is your 1 cup of breadcrumbs, your 1 cup of wholemeal flour, and the oil. Okay, 1/4 cup of oil I've put in here, and then I've added to that, you've got there 1 cup of the cooked brown rice. Now, I've gone with using brown. Brown is always best, right? So we've gone with the brown rice as well as the wholemeal flour. Okay, so I've added all of that into the bowl already, and I've also included in there your mixed herbs, your mushroom seasoning, the paprika, and a bit of salt. Okay, so that's all in here.
Can you just show the camera?
Is it this one?
This one here, yep.
So it's a bit of a dry mix at the moment, okay? Now, I have not put in there how much water, okay? Now, the reasons for this is it depends on your mix. You want it to be doughy enough that it forms a ball and it doesn't break apart, okay? So before I get on to doing this, I'm going to start off with the sauce. The sauce is very straightforward. Now, this one is actually a bigger tin than what you would actually get for this. Now, this one is 820 grams. You only need about 400 mils, of this is the condensed tomato soup, okay? So I'm going to open this up and we'll just use half of this can because that's all you need for this. Okay. Nope. Just get this open. All right, so it's just that straight into your pot. So turn. Okay. So we said only about half of this tin. Obviously, you can get the smaller ones, and then you're basically putting the whole tin into your saucepan. Okay, so I've got that. Now, after that, I'm going to make up a slurry, the corn flour slurry, because I want this to be thickened, the sauce to be thickened up just a little bit. Okay, so thank you. I'm going to just mix this up with water. Yep, that's fine, thank you. I'll just get a fork. All right, so I'm just making the slurry here. Mix it up really well until the flour is all dissolved. Just like that. And then I'm going to add that straight into the tomato soup. Okay, so I'm going to mix this up and wait for it to come to a little bit of a boil or thicken up a bit. And see, I've mixed some of the things up on my trays. But with that, you can add a little bit of salt as well, just to break up if the tomato soup is maybe a tad sweet. You can add a little bit of salt to that. Now I'm just putting on these gloves because simply when I'm mixing the dumplings here, it works much better because it doesn't stick then to your hands. It's just basically working with it with the gloves on. Okay, so I didn't add my onions to the mix, so I'm just going to add my 1 onion there. And to that also I've got the curly parsley, okay? Add that straight to the bowl. Now, it's best to just get in there with your hands, with the gloves on, and you sort of just start mixing that through. I think with some people they sort of like, it's like making rissoles or something, isn't it? Like they sort of do it like this where it's all, okay. Now, this is where the water part of it comes in. It all depends on the consistency that you want. So
If you can just show the camera when you think it's
that one's fine. Yeah, no,
good.
Okay. So I'm just going to add a bit of water into this, and then I'm going to mix it up with my hands. Okay. Now, as you can see, I probably wouldn't add any more than what I have. So I might have added maybe half a cup. Okay. Now, my sauce has boiled, or has come to a boil here, just a simmer there. Now, it's ready for me to actually put in my dumplings, yeah? So, basically what I'm going to do, you want this kind of consistency, yeah? You know that you can form it in the palm of your hand, just as is.
There we are, Joe. Oh, okay.
So then it looks,
Thanks.
okay.
That's for our viewers at home.
So, yeah, basically just the size of the palm of your hand, you form them into a ball, and then you drop it into your sauce. Okay, so you turn your sauce down to a low heat, and you keep doing this until you've used up your mixture, basically. Okay. That's fine. Once you've formed the balls and put them into your sauce, you will put a lid on it and let it simmer at a low heat for about 15 or so minutes, yeah? Because what you're basically, everything else in there is cooked besides the flour that you've put in there. So what you're wanting to do is basically just cook through that flour. And then once that's done, it's ready.
How's this consistency? Do you want any more water on it?
I think it's good, yeah. How does it taste? Is it all right?
Did anyone miss out? No?
Okay. I think you get the gist of it now. I'll take the rest to the back, but that's basically it. Very simple, very straightforward. It's something that can be ready, like besides the cooking of your rice, everything else is very straightforward to put together. And then once it's come together, look, you'll have this meal ready in 45, 50 minutes really, like with the rice being cooked and everything else. And then it's ready to eat, and you can serve it up as your main dish with maybe a side of green salad. Like, it goes really well. Like, it's very good. You all enjoyed it? Good? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to pass it over to Lydia now, and she will show you what the dessert is with the almond ricotta.
Oh,
so
dessert.
She's shown you something that was savoury, and now she's going to show you something sweet with the almond ricotta.
We can't finish without dessert. Okay, thank you very much, Tanya. Thank you. So that's nice. Yes, we all enjoy the leftovers afterwards, you know. You wonder what happens to all these things that get cooked here. Well, they don't go to waste, I can tell you that. So, very good. So who we got next is Lydia? Is it? With the dessert. Okay, thank you. The final one for tonight, and this one is I just read it a moment ago, the
Almond ricotta and cherry tart.
almond ricotta and cherry tart. Okay, thank you. It tastes better than it sounds.
The cherries, one on your recipe, I'm doing half of your recipe, okay? So I'm only going to do half of the amount. So I'm only going to use one bottle of cherries, Morello cherries. Morello cherries is slightly sour cherry, and it's really good for cakes and things like that. It just has that extra flavour. Yes?
Can you use fresh cherry?
Oh, yes. Yeah, just take the pips out. Take the pips out, and also, am I on? Oh, okay. Can you use fresh cherries? Yes, definitely. Very nice, yes. You can. You can use whatever fruit you want, really, but we just feel that the cherry is nice. It complements the cheese mix very much. So, we don't need to have a mixer for this one. You can if you want to. I mixed the big batch in the mixer, but this is just going to be quick. So I'm going to use half of the ricotta that I make, because I'm making a half amount to what is on your recipe. Okay, so I'll put the ricotta in. Then I'm going to use, on the recipe it says 1 tin of condensed coconut milk. Condensed coconut milk, okay? And it says 1 tin, so I'm going to use just half because I'm halving it. So, yeah, that's about half. Okay, it looks like a condensed milk, not as thick, but almost. Okay, so that's that. Then on your recipe, it says to put 2 tablespoons of lemon rind. So I'm only going to put 1 in here. And it says to put 1/3 cup of lemon juice. I'm going to put half of that amount. It's just a matter of mixing everything up. And 2 tablespoons of corn flour. I'm just going to put 1. Actually, it says 3 tablespoons, so that's 1.5 in here, because I just halved everything. And just mix it all up. Okay. It's if you don't put the corn flour in here and you make crepes and you put that as a filling, it is to die for. Okay? So if you're using it as a filling for a crepe, don't put the corn flour. I've put the corn flour because we're going to bake it, and it'll act instead of egg to sort of bound it together. So we've just mixed it well. And it's like a cheese ricotta, a sweet cheesy ricotta. And once this is all mixed, we just put the cherries in, fresh or tin. But just be careful when you're going to try this, because they say it's pitted cherries, but I was having one and I found 2 pits in the one that I had. So be careful you don't break your teeth, okay, because it's not 100%. And just give that a mix until it's combined. Now that filling is ready for the pastry. Now if you're creative and you make your own pastry, good for you. I'm going to save some time tonight, and we're going to use a short crust pastry that's made by Pampers. I'm not getting any money from Pampers for doing this, but it's just easier to work with, and it's all done for you. So you don't have to worry about getting the right chill of the flour and the butter and all the rest of it. You can if you are good at it. But this is an easy way out, okay? So I've saved, I'm not going to do all of it, but I've saved a couple of sheets for me to work on tonight. Oops, sorry. Thank you. Okay. Now, you can either make a little individual ones, or you can make a bigger one, like a medium, or you can make a large one. It doesn't matter, whatever. But I'll show you the little one only because, just so that you know what to do when you have that sort of patty thing. You cut your shape, then you've got to cut it, say, in about three places, so that you can just make a little cup, okay, out of it. And then you sit that in there, but before I do that, I should just give it a light spray. I don't think it'll stick, but... Okay, I'll just put it here. Yes, and it's just so that it makes a little cup, okay? So you just, out of one sheet, I can get 9 of these, easy. When you have a bigger, I'll let Tanya do this, that one there, and I'll make this one up. Yep. Okay. All right, so we just cut three spots, and we just twirl it like that and make a little cup. And that way you can fit it in there.
Us blokes would just throw it in there without cutting it, you know.
Sorry, boys.
Just push it in there without cutting it, it'll be fine.
Well, it's a bit harder. If you try, it's kind of, it might break in the middle.
But that's good, it shows the care that goes into these cookings. Yeah.
It breaks, so
yeah.
It's better to just, yeah. Do you want to do some, Tanya? Just cut it in 3 spots, and then you just put it behind it like that. Yep. Okay, now when our casings are done, you know, either your own pastry or the short crust pastry, then you can just put the filling in it and you cook it in the oven on 200 degrees for about 35 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on your oven. Just keep an eye out. And then, yeah. Would you get that in a shop? Would you buy it? Would you have it? I love it. I don't know about you, but...
So that's the same ricotta you made before?
It's the same ricotta. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring it back in here, and I think it might be cool enough for us to put it through the cloth. And I'll just pour that through so you can have a look what it looks like, and then we're done for tonight.
That's pretty amazing. So the ricotta, we've used it as a dip,
You can use it as a pate.
Yeah,
as
we
a
would,
dip.
and that's what we had at the very beginning. They had, as you were demonstrating
Yes,
it,
that's correct.
they were being served the
Yes,
little pate.
that was just plain. Completely
just plain?
Nothing in it.
And then you've got the salty version with the, what do you call that one?
Spanakopita.
That's,
Spanakopita.
that's the one. And now we've got
It's a cheese pie, cheese and spinach pie.
cheese and spinach pie. And now we've got this one here, which is the little dessert, little nice tart. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So this is really nice for parties, if you have little parties and things like that. It's a good one to, yeah.
So that ricotta's totally vegan, right? Like
Yes.
non-dairy, put it that way.
100%
100%
100% vegan, plant-based.
Non-dairy. It's very good.
just almonds, water, lemon juice and salt. That's all
Yep.
it is, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just fill that up with the ricotta filling, with the almond ricotta filling, and then we bake this for 35 minutes. And that's it. So now, if Tanya, if you would mind going out to bring me in that ricotta, please. Yep. And look, you know, it might be a little bit fiddly to make it, but as you can see, it does go a long way. It is a kilo of ricotta, and you don't have to really worry much about it. Once you've got the almonds, you just have to whiz it up 10 minutes, and you're done, really. And it's quite simple to do. It's not, it's nothing fancy. You don't have to stand there hour after hour waiting for it. You just let it drip overnight. In the morning, it's all ready for you. So, any more questions? Yes? Oh, who made something from last week? Ah, good. What did you make?
We made the bologna beans.
Oh, very good. Did it taste good? Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you, same, the bologna bean soup? Perfect. You too? Oh, wow, very good. Rosetta? Oh, she's not here. I hope that you're going to cook all of these. What are you going to make for next week, Carol?
The spinach and ricotta pie.
Spanakopita. Yeah.
Spanakopita, is it?
Spanakopita.
Spanakopita. And
Spanner, as in spanner?
yeah, spanakopita.
Kopita.
And that's Brazilian or
No, that's Greek.
Italian? Greek. There we go.
We're going all over the world here.
But that's a non-dairy spanakopita.
Yes, it is. Yep. It's a ricotta, almond ricotta spanakopita. Like I said before, you can actually put in mint, you can put in parsley, any herbs that you like to add to it. But we just did with plain spinach and spring onion, or shallots as we call it. So, yeah. Anyone else? Any more questions?
Our people at home enjoy these too. People online watching from all around the world, and they comment on their fantastic recipes. So
I just
they're
wish
good.
that they'd be here to try it, because when you think almond ricotta, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, you've got to taste
You've
it
got to taste it. and then
to
then
appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, if you gave that in a restaurant, they would not know that it was non-dairy, you know.
No, I don't believe they would know. No. Thank you. Now, did we get the... Oh, beautiful. Okay, this is not quite cool enough, but it's cool enough for us to put it through the cloth. So I'll show you what I will do.
So by cool, you want it at room temperature,
A little
or
bit colder.
a little bit colder than room temperature?
Warm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So get your cheesecloth, okay? Like I said, you can buy it from, if you ask them at Spotlight, because they don't have it out. You've got to actually ask them, and they've got it in the drawer. Okay, and you just get a meter's plenty. Half a metre is enough if you want one, but I bought a couple of metres because I made 7 in one go yesterday. I was like, am I going to stop making this? But anyway, oops, sorry. I just want this. Okay, I'm going to just put it through the cheesecloth. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so for those watching at home, if you join in halfway through the video, this is the beginning of that recipe of the ricotta, right?
Yeah,
of
the almond ricotta.
Almond ricotta, and now after it's cooled down, we're now going to make the cheese from it.
Now, I was very spoilt today, and I asked Larry, could you do me something so I can hang up my ricotta? And this is what he came up with. Isn't he amazing?
It's pretty cool.
So I thought, yeah, and for you, Larry. I thought it was marvellous. I was very excited. So get your opposite corners together, and so those two together and these two together, and you lift it up, and it's dripping, okay? And usually, like because I do this, oops. I do this at home with my cupboard, so it's not as tall, I suppose, but it's okay.
You can drop it down a little.
That's all right now, I've just...
No, Larry's locked it.
No, that's good.
Made a good job.
He did a good job. He's a good man. You got the right husband there, Tanya.
Just be careful.
It might tip. Oh, but I won't even talk about mine. Mine's excellent. Mine's very good, my husband. But this might tip. So if you leave that dripping off your cupboard or somewhere overnight, you'll get a nice ricotta in the morning. Or, no, just let it take its, it'll just keep going. Eventually it'll stop dripping and then you might get 1 drip or 2 drips. No, you don't squeeze it. I suppose if you're in a hurry, you might sort of help it along, but I don't. I just let it go. Yeah, so...
Now, if you want something to hang your cheesecloth, Larry is taking orders. Okay, so.
Yeah. So coat hangers are good, and you know what else? The old shopping bags that had the handle, you can actually tie the plastic and then hook up the handle onto if you've got knobs on your kitchen cupboard or something. Yeah. So yeah, but that's it. So this is what we've got. Sorry? Yes. Inside the house is usually not too bad. Overnight is cooler. Or during the day if you've got aircon, it's cold, but I would do it overnight. Sorry? Okay. Yeah. So last night I had every door in my cupboard had one of these hanging down. It looked so funny. I thought, oh my goodness, I took a photo and sent it to my kids.
See, this is amazing. See what we go through for you guys. Isn't that wonderful? Big hand for Lydia.
Anyway.
Thanks. All right.
But please have a go. It's not hard. It's not hard at all, and you will enjoy it. And yeah, you can actually freeze the spanakopita. Once it's baked, you can actually do a big tray and just cut it in 4s and freeze a quarter, and you know.
So how long would you leave that like that for?
Hanging there?
Yeah.
Minimum 6 hours.
6 hours.
Minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Overnight. I usually
but
put it on before I go to bed, and then it's
right
in the morning.
Okay.
And hopefully your kitchen's not near your bedroom, because that will drive me nuts, hearing that drip, drip, drip. But it only happens for the first hour and then it settles. Yeah. That's it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
We just want to get everyone out here. Just before you go, just wait. Okay. Out. Come.
See you, I want you to
Come
say,
out.
oh, we do that all the time. Because it's really versatile, like I said. You can put it in cakes, you can put it in savouries, you can make pies, you can make all sorts of things with it. So, but try doing that filling without the corn flour and put it in with pancake, like with the crepe. Roll it in a crepe. You'll love it. It's so nice. Yeah. Thank you.
So we expect to be sold out of almonds tonight.
Okay, we're just bringing the team out. So behind the scenes, a lot of helpers are out there helping make this happen. And so we just want to say thank you to everybody here. Thank you. Okay. All right. We've got Zephaniah, Vivian, Kiki, Owen, Sue, Georgia, Stella, Tanya, Lydia, and we've got Paul. There he is at the back there. Okay, and that's it. And we have you too, so thank you. Oh, one more. Oh, thank you. Yeah, here she is out there. So thank you, everybody. And we want to thank you too for supporting these, and we hope they've been a blessing to you. And you'll go home now and you'll be able to apply some of this into your own cuisines at home, and I'm sure that they'll be blessed by it, and that you might have a healthier and happier life as a result. We have come to the end of our series for this season. We had the 3 in the series. Next time we'll be having these on will be about 5 months' time, around October. The first. I think it's the first Monday or second Monday in October, isn't it? First. After the long weekend. Yeah, it's after the long weekend, so it'll be the first Monday after the long weekend. So that's in October. So until then, we trust the Lord will keep you all, and we look forward to seeing you there, Nick, or here again at that time. So with this, let's invite you just to bow your heads as we ask for the Lord's blessings. Father in heaven, again, Lord, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for these. Recipes, and for the effort of everybody here that's helped to make this happen, and for all the information that we've gained tonight. And we thank you for providing all of this for us, Lord, not because we are worthy, but because you love us and want us to be healthy and happy, and to live long and happy lives. And we look forward to the next time we can all meet together again. Until then, take care of us all as we travel our separate ways, as we take home tonight. Keep us in your love and care until we meet again. And for those watching online as well, bless them wherever they are. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Good night. God bless. And don't forget, the shop's open still to now. 10% off just for tonight. Okay, thank you. Larry will be taking orders for the tripod here. Thanks.